Hello, my name is Amelia Coffey, and tonight I will be talking about classroom rewards in regards to classroom management. And my study is focusing on classroom rewards as opposed to a classroom that wouldn't be running in that regard. So that's what I'm going to be comparing and contrasting with this action research. So just a little bit of background. I am a classroom teacher and I have been for 6 years. Before that, I was in classrooms. I was in special ed for 4 years. Actually 5 years, excuse me. And the entire time I was in special ed, some kind of incentive or reward program is being used. And then once I moved over into regular ed classrooms, it was just a continuing part of my practice was to positive behavior and reward supports very much a PBIS background for my teaching and kind of how I moved forward in my practice as a teacher. So I've noticed that my classroom management style is very successful, and I have had several different groups of kids. In my 6 years, I've had groups where the majority of the kids are ELL. I've had groups where I have about 6 or 7 IEPs. I have groups where I have no IEPs, and I have a lot of gifted and talented. I have groups where very mixed socioeconomic statuses are happening. So I have noticed that this style of classroom management that I follow, which is very much rooted in an incentive program, is very successful amongst all different demographics, amongst all different socioeconomic statuses, and amongst all different groups and dichotomies of kids. So, given my experience with this kind of programming, I see other teachers that don't necessarily have this programming, and I see the struggles that they go through within their classrooms when it comes to classroom management and kind of creating that classroom community. I see other teachers struggle, and I wonder if, or this action research is based on the fact that I am seeing a struggle with other teachers, and the consistent struggle seems to be that they're not doing what I'm doing. And I feel as though a classroom incentive program is the cornerstone to my classroom management, and I feel as though the classes that seem to be struggling with their classroom management, should they have some kind of incentive program, things would be different in their classroom. So I've kind of also identified the problem there, but I feel as though every classroom should have some kind of reward system of any kind. Whether you're giving individual rewards, whether you're giving class-wide group rewards, some kind of incentive program is imperative. And I will even go as far as saying essential to a successful classroom. So my research questions are as follows. Will the implementation of classroom rewards result in the lessening of intrinsic motivation over time? There have been some studies that I have found which have some conflicting data where it shows that sometimes it is seen, classroom rewards are seen as a deterrent for intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation meaning that the kids, my students, or any kind of student would not need any extra push to do the right thing in the classroom. They would just do it naturally because they want to. So intrinsic motivation being hindered by a reward, it means they're only doing it because they're being rewarded, not because they want to. I disagree. I think the reward makes it better or validates the fact that they did the right thing. I don't feel that they're only doing it to be rewarded, because I see it when, the reason I say that is because I see these behaviors when they know I'm not looking, or when they don't know I'm not looking. And, excuse me, when they don't know I'm looking, they see, their behaviors are in line with the fact that they're doing this on their own. These behaviors that I've been rewarding them for are carrying over into their own independent time where they are doing them on their own. So like being helpful to others, having good manners, following instructions, hands to themselves, being respectful, not interrupting. After giving so much praise over time, those behaviors just start to become natural for my students. And the intrinsic motivation is, I know I'm going to get the praise I've gotten in the past feels so good that I'm going to keep going with this behavior, and it becomes natural and it becomes second nature. So, the next research question will be, will the implementation of consequences in a reward system has a negative impact and affect what the teacher is trying to accomplish within their classroom management? So I am a teacher who does consequences. I have a point system in my classroom currently, and I will take points away if they are continually not following directions, or if they're continually being disrespectful, or if they're continually off task. I feel that that is the kick in the pants that the kids need. That is obviously, I'm being facetious there, but I think that that is the nudge that a lot of students need to correct their behavior. And it works 100% of the time. My next research question will be, will other systems and techniques work well when compared to a classroom reward system? So there are several teachers out there that don't do a classroom reward system, like a generic classroom reward system. And are they working? Show me what they are doing for your classroom management, and what's working and what's not working is kind of where I'm going to go with that question. So I have 3 methodologies here that I'm going to highlight, and then I will show you in the end, or I will speak about in the end, which one I'm going to pick. So I will say that even though I'm going to highlight both qualitative and quantitative methodologies, regardless, even within both, I will be using both kinds of methodologies, qualitative and quantitative. So just wanted to let you know that. So some of the basics, I will be using both teachers and students in my study as my active participants. I will also use a teacher who does not use any kind of classroom reward system. They'll be almost like my control group, my group that everything springs off of. Will be one of the teachers in my school that does not use any kind of classroom reward system. All right, so for all of my qualitative methodologies, they will be as follows. I will be doing one-on-one interviews where I will be using both students and teachers and sitting down with them, asking them one-on-one questions that are pertinent to classroom rewards, and getting very much spoken word testimonials for classroom rewards. I will obviously be keeping a good record of these and, using all of my literature that I've been working with and kind of tying that into my qualitative research. I will have those focus groups that I spoke to you about, and I will also be observing teachers in, kind of live during their classroom management. I just wanted to see what it looks like from both a standpoint of no classroom reward system and the presence of a classroom reward system. So for the quantitative methodologies, I will be definitely doing some sampling, or this would include some sampling using a random group of teachers across grade levels, and I will be speaking to administrators as well to see what they think. I will definitely be using some documentation and fully going into review of that. And lastly, surveys and questionnaires are going to be super helpful for me. And finally, mixed. Mixed between both qualitative and quantitative, where there will be a short experiment including both qualitative and quantitative aspects of the methodology. This will also involve students of my own classroom. So finally, which methodology will I be picking? Well, it actually will be all 3. I'm going to do a mixed bag when it comes to my study. I think it'll be really helpful to have qualitative aspects in the fact that I'm talking to students, I'm talking to teachers, I'm observing students and teachers, I'm getting real, live data, and then it'll also be super helpful to have that quantitative piece, that survey, that questionnaire, that kind of more raw data where I get, some very unfiltered responses from both of my teachers and students and potentially my administrators in the school. And then lastly, combining all of that will be, the final tipping point for my collective data research. So that is the basics of my study, and I will be letting you know how this goes. Thank you so much.